Welcome back to How to Souls. My name is Rach and this is our warrior class guide to the Capra Demon boss. So my first piece of advice with this boss comes before we've even set foot through the fog gate, and that is to go to the right. If you are using the Firelink Shrine bonfire as your respawn point for this boss, I do feel like it has two advantages. The number one advantage is you only have 2 thieves and 2 dogs to deal with rather than 5 dogs and 6 thieves every time you want to reface against the Capra Demon, because this boss is kind of tough and you can die in like 3 seconds and have to do this run back again, and it sucks. And 2, your Firelink Shrine bonfire is already kindled by default because it has a resident firekeeper there, which means when you rest at it or respawn at it, you'll get 10 Estus flasks instead of 5. Those are the 2 main advantages, although it's a bit of a longer run back to having this bonfire as your respawn point. So next, let's go over equipment. Because we are a warrior, we're very tanky. We've got some heavy armor on, so we can take some big hits if necessary. So I'm using the Elite Knight set. You can pick this up from the Darkroot Garden. It's just on a corpse on the ground, ready for the taking, but it does have an ambush, so I just pick it up and run away. My weapon of choice is the Claymore. I have this ascended to +5, which is the highest it can go at this point in the game, so it's doing some pretty good damage. You really have no excuse for not having a +5 weapon by Capra, because you can purchase Titanite shards from Andre the Blacksmith. Capra's a boss that you want to die as quick as possible, so an easy way to do this is to do more damage to him. So we have a Claymore. If you're using a weapon that levels up with Twinkling Titanite, this will be a little bit more difficult to level up, but not if you know how. So I do have a video here if you were lucky enough to get, say, a Black Knight sword or a similarly powerful weapon that does use Twinkling Titanite. So here's a good video on how to level this up nice and high to do lots of damage. You are going to need a shield for this fight, mostly for the very start. The first opening few seconds of this fight are the hardest, no matter your build. Warrior actually has an easier time here because of the poise and the stamina. So we're going to want to pick a shield with really good stability. I don't really have one higher than 55. 55 is pretty good. So we're using the Crest Shield. If you want to know how to get this shield, it's from returning to the Undead Asylum and beating Oscar. I do have a video on how to do that if you want to click it in the cards above. Other ways to increase damage, obviously we do have gold pine resin and stuff like that, but I wouldn't worry about it because it's a finite resource and it's a difficult boss. Rings wise, I have Havel's Ring to reduce my equipment weight, and the Ring of Favor and Protection for health, stamina, and reduced equipment rate. So with all this, I do have a medium roll if we do need to roll. But mostly this kind of build is going to look to block and strafe around attacks, or just eat them entirely. So as I mentioned before, the first few seconds of this fight are key. As the warrior, we're going to have our shield raised and be ready to kind of skirt around the left-hand side if we can. The dogs can behave erratically. They don't do the same thing 2 times in a row, so you need to be ready to adapt to that. What I quite like to do is sort of tease them into thinking that I'm going one direction and then at the very last second switch and go around the other way. This will stop you from getting pinned against the wall. The idea here is the same for most builds. We're going to use the stairs here to filter the dogs, so we're fighting them one at a time. If you're using a Claymore like me, other swords have the same moveset, but basically the one-handed heavy attack is a really nice sort of thrust. So what I like to do is block the dog and then attack back with a thrusting attack. This way your sword is not bouncing off of the walls, which can be really panic-inducing in this fight. With the dogs down, it's time to turn our attention to Capra Demon. Depending how you prefer to do this fight, you can fight him head-on, one-on-one. The problems I see here, obviously, is if you mess up, he's going to hit you straight in the face. It's going to do a lot of damage. And also the foliage, the trees. It's a tiny room, and sometimes it can be quite difficult to see, especially if you're strafing around him. But you can whittle him away like that if you choose. But the tried and true sort of canon method, if you will, for fighting the Capra Demon is using the stairs to stun him. So basically, you lure him up the stairs, jump off yourself. He will jump off to follow you, and as he hits the ground, he's sort of stunned for a wee second or two, and you can use that time really well to get a couple of good hits in. Another method, if you're feeling brave and confident, is if you do get him to be slightly stunned after jumping off the stairs, you can take advantage of that immediately by running back up the stairs again, falling off into a plunging attack and getting massive critical damage on him. But like I said, the hardest part is right at the start with the dogs. I feel like if you're able to just stay calm and get those, well, and stay lucky, a lot of it is luck for which direction the dogs decide to go. If you're able to stay calm and lucky and get those dogs down, It's really as simple as getting one plunging attack there did so much of his health, which was, oh, it's delicious. I hope you had as much fun fighting the Capra Demon as I did. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, then I like you. You can subscribe. We actually have a whole playlist of warrior class guides for every boss in this game, as well as rogue, mage, and I'm going to make pyromancer and priest and all that sort of stuff in future as well. Take care of yourself, don't you dare go hollow, and I'll see you in the next video.